Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the July Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue Community Roundtable. Thanks to all for joining today. Really appreciate the continued turnout here at our roundtables. Today's agenda will cover a few different items. Um,
Sorry, Ernest.
no problem. Uh, our general community welcome will happen, followed by department updates. First up would be the CDOT Vision Zero, followed by NOF, Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, followed by the Divi Bikeshare, West Humboldt Park Development Council updates, and then update on the Invest Southwest Quarter RFP. So from there, just wanted to say welcome again to all of our members who routinely join, those listed here, as well as both Aldermen Urban and Burnett and their staffs that have joined from time to time. I will pause. I see Mary Phillips on the line. Mary, if you wanted to say anything, feel free to take it away. Just waving hi. All right. Oh, Mary, it's always great to have you join us. Without further ado, sorry about that. There's a little bit of an echo on this side because we have folks close by in the office as we're all back in City Hall.
So sorry.
No worries. So some of my West Region colleagues are joining the meeting. So our apologies on that shrieking noise, but I think we have it all set now. We should be good. Okay. So we're going to launch into some department updates. And we'll take it from there. First up, we have the CDOT Vision Zero, and I will pass it along to Karishma and Kate for an update on Vision Zero.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Kate Maitland, and I am joined by my teammate Karishma Ali, who actually introduced herself on the last call. We work with a company called Greater Good Studio, and we're partnered with CDOT on Vision Zero in the Northwest side. So we introduced it a little bit last time, but we're a bit further into the project. So we just wanted to make sure that we came back and touched base and let you know in a little bit more specific detail, kind of what we're up to and what you can expect from us. So again, just a bit about Vision Zero. It is that the headline goal is eliminating death and serious injury from traffic crashes. So if you want to go to the next slide, Ernest. Yeah, so it's really, this is an international movement that Chicago joined in 2017 and really committed to being a Vision Zero city. And so we talked about the goal and its real focus on eliminating traffic fatalities and injury. But the approach is really about how we design, use, and view our streets. So there has been an action plan in place since 2017. And it really has been kind of the cornerstone of how CDOT has done a lot of its work over the past few years. And some of you might have seen that there was recently, CDOT put out a strategic plan, and Vision Zero is, a really instrumental part of their approach going forward. So if you want to go to the next slide. So Vision Zero is being incorporated sort of across the city because crashes happen everywhere. But at the same time, it was identified that there are some areas that they're calling high crash areas where simply more crashes are occurring than others. And so the northwest side, including Humboldt Park, Westtown, and Belmont Cragen, has been identified as a high crash area. And so you can see on this map, what we did was pull the crashes resulting in injuries. So this isn't all the crashes that happened. These are just the ones that resulted in injuries from 2017 to July 2021. So you can see that there's quite a few, but there are particular areas along Chicago Avenue and Pulaski Road and Cicero that where there's a particularly high rate of crashes. So if you go to the next slide. So what that means is there's actually a range of solutions and kind of outside of the box ideas to get to safer streets. These are just kind of a few of the big categories, but you can see whether it be safer speeds, signals, transit improvements, all of these things kind of fall into the Vision Zero toolbox. But I think it's important to call out that these are traffic safety interventions that are geared toward preventing death and injury, but they also have broader implications. So they can improve health, economic development, and just lead to better streets to walk down and be on, and more kind of vibrant community. So part of our work is connecting with all the other initiatives that are going on in the community, which is why we're here talking to you, and you might see us on a few other roundtables, because these things really are interconnected. So we want to make sure that we're connecting those dots. So if you go to the next slide. So our work over the next 9 months are kind of creating community-centered Vision Zero plans. And so we will be working closely with groups like yours. We'll be out in the community talking to folks over the next few months. And we're sort of doing this work in a few different phases. If you want to go to the next slide. So right now we're still just in the phase where we're gathering input. We want to hear from all sorts of folks who are using the streets to get around every day. So we'll be joining different groups, as we'll be actually just out at the West Humboldt Park Fest on August 7th, just talking to people about their experiences. And continuing to identify priority areas and kind of understanding what's going on. Then we will be sort of taking that information and coming back and really getting into designing solutions together and really figuring out what the priority areas are, and in that toolbox of interventions that are available, which ones are the right fit for what places in this neighborhood. And so then the last phase of that work is putting it all together. And we will be creating both kind of a long-term vision plan, as well as identifying specific pilots that can be started sort of immediately. So that's kind of the process and timeline of our work, big picture. If you go to the next slide, as I said, right now we are in the learning phase, and we have probably reached out to some of you already. We might in the future, because we are doing some more targeted outreach, but we also want to make sure that anyone who has something to say has sort of a channel to do that. So right now we have 2 surveys out. I even hesitate to call them surveys. We've tried to keep them very brief. It can be done in 3 minutes, although there's some open-ended questions. If you want to write more, we would love to hear it. But there's a link. Krishma has just put the links to the surveys in the chat. And I'm also, and I don't have the chat up, but Krishma, if you also put up, we would love for you, if you're willing to share, to take these surveys, because we would love to hear from you. But also if you're interested in sharing them through your social media channels, your networks, etc. Krishma will put up a document that can be used to sort of share those broadly. But again, we'd love to hear from as many folks as possible. But this isn't the only channel for engagement. We'll be, as I said, sort of out and about and just learning, and then we'll be back in the fall to get more specific about kind of what we want to see happen in the future. So if you go to the next slide, that is just our contact information. We'll also drop that in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. As I said, you potentially might be hearing from us. So now you have our pictures and kind of know who's on the other end of that email. But we are excited to continue to sort of be present at the roundtables and talk to you all and, work together on this project. So thanks so much. I'm open to any questions, but other than that, we will put all the information in the chat.
All right, I just wanted to say real quickly that if you don't like clicking on links, that QR code works. I just pulled it up on my phone. It works pretty well. So you'll be able to access it all in the post roundtable email I'll send out that gives the slide decks. Feel free to reach out anyway. And a big thanks to Kate and Karishma for joining us.
And I'll just add one thing, Ernest. If you don't want to post something on your own social media, you can actually just go to the Greater Good Studio social media pages on Instagram and Facebook. So we also have links to the survey through that, and you can also just repost our post if you would like to share that with anybody else. So that's available too. And that would be, I'll put it in the chat, but it's Greater Good Studio is what you would search for.
Thanks, Karishma. I see a raised hand. Mary, I'm not sure if,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just had a question about the survey. I live in Old Irving Park, and I know it said Northwest side. Are you all more focused on Humboldt Park or like a broader Northwest side?
Yeah, so our Old Irving Park is a little bit outside of the priority area. So it's Humboldt Park, Belmont Cragen, and Westtown, which Westtown is huge. But
Got it.
there is an option if you want. I think the way that we framed it is if you live, work, or spend time in those communities,
Okay.
we're primarily focused on residents. But if you have thoughts, we'd also love to hear those. And there's an option to choose other, and you can tell us where you're from in the survey.
Thank you.
And Mary Phillips, I'm not sure if you had a question as well. Sorry about that, Mary. We can't hear you. Your audio seems to have dropped out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I had a similar question as the young lady prior. I was going to ask, were they doing other locations besides the Humboldt Park? And she answered that.
Okay. Thanks, Mary.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks again to the Greater Good team for coming to the roundtable today and giving us some information with regards to Vision Zero. Up next is the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund, and I will let Mary Kuhn take it over.
Hi, everyone. Mary Kuhn here from DPD. I work on the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. And the mission of our work is to transform commercial corridors on the south and west sides, south, southwest, and west sides. We have a new round of finalists that we are excited to announce. That the mayor had an event, and we announced this 2 or 3 weeks ago, so still pretty new. Here are some of the logos from the folks that are our new finalists. Can you go to the next slide, please? So it's a little bit more about the round. It's 11.5 million in neighborhood investment, with part of that made up by NOF funds and the rest in private funds. We have 24 new finalists. Once they get their grant contract, they'll become officially grantees. Right now they're finalists. And then you can see on the right, that's the process that they go through. We get a lot of applications. It's pretty competitive. And we have a lot of stakeholders involved in selecting those finalists. Next slide, please. Great. So a little bit more about the finalists. We are proud to say that 79% of our finalists identify as BIPOC, and BIPOC is Black, Indigenous, People of Color. and 15 are in our QIA. QIA is qualified investment area, and that's the area that is eligible for NOF. We identified that area through census data, and that's based on poverty rates, unemployment rates. It's the area of the highest need. So 15 of our folks live in that area. And then 14 of the projects out of the 24 were on Invest Southwest corridors. And majority of our finalists intend to hire residents within that same area, which is great. And then on the right, we've always had a lot of participation from food businesses. So that was the same this time. We only had one arts and culture. So we're always looking for good arts and culture projects. If you all know of any, please encourage them to apply. We have a new round opening. I have some slides on that. We'll talk about that in a second. We are proud to say that we had more participation from our Latinx community, and we'd like to see that grow as well. We do have an application in Spanish, and we received our first 2 applications in Spanish this time, and we are able to do reviews. So thanks to our colleagues who helped us with that. 21% of our finalists identify as Hispanic, and we also had an uptick in applications from folks who identify as Hispanic. So this is kind of the breakdown by neighborhood, so you can see where the projects are. So we had 2 from Humboldt Park, and we'll show you what those projects are here in a second. This is by corridor, so it looks like the one that's to the Chicago Avenue. So it looks like we had some applications, but no finalists from that particular corridor. So something to work on for next time. This is for the Southwest region. And then there's a map on the next slide. And the yellow is the Invest Southwest corridor. The red with the white circle around it are new finalists. Just the plain red is finalists, completed are green. Those are completed NOF projects, and then under construction are orange. Far south, we had 3 this time. And those were all up in South Chicago, up in kind of the northern part of this region. So 79th Street and 87th were where the new ones were. Southeast, we always get a lot of applications from this area. We have a lot of projects there. We'd like to see the other areas grow a little bit more. Last but not least, the West region. Any of these projects look familiar to anybody? There's 2 on North Avenue. Probably not, because I think nothing on the corridor.
Yeah, the only one on Chicago Avenue is more the Austin Chicago Avenue Invest Southwest corridor.
Yeah, further down. You can flip to the map. Yeah, a little further down Chicago. But we do have one under construction. The legend's not there, but that orange is under construction. No, I was going to say it's Tassa Coffee, but I think that's further down. Oh, maybe no, I think that's on North Avenue. I'd have to look up to see what that one project is on Chicago.
I'm not sure, but it just maybe West Humboldt Park Development Council.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're on the call.
Yep, and that project is complete.
Yay. Hi, Adrian.
Hi.
So Adrian, why haven't you all included the fire station in this?
We can on the next round.
Okay.
We will. That has been on my mind. So Ernest, Mary, we will be that in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Anything else on this before we move on to the next round? No? Okay. So let's talk next round. All right. So here are some tips that we like to give for competitive applications, because we do get so many folks interested. So this is what we call SPEC, site control, plan for construction, the equity or loan, and the cost itemized. So site control is just showing us that you've got control of the site, that you have a lease or a deed. If you don't have those, we'll take a letter of intent, but more detailed, the better on that. Plan for construction, we give a template for that. So all you have to do is fill out the dates, but please don't leave it blank. Just put some dates in there, give it your best shot of what you think are some realistic dates. And having the bid from the contractor goes a long way as well, because the contractor will probably be able to tell you how long things will take generally. Equity or loan, so our minimum for projects is 25%. It could be a loan. It doesn't have to be money in the bank. If we don't all have a lot of money sitting in the bank, but our minimum is 25% for that. And then a budget is really important. So having those line items that come, having the bid uploaded and then putting those line items in the budget. Again, we give a template to make it easier for folks, since most people aren't, professional developers. So you can just fill out that template and put those numbers in there. So definitely fill these things out, and this should give you a pretty good shot if you are pretty solid in all of these areas. Any questions about spec before we move on? No. Easy group today. So our application opens on August 16th, and it'll close on September 24th. That's one of our finalists in the picture. Her name is Maya Camille, and her business is Justice of the Pies. She's over at the hatchery right now in Garfield Park, but she's moving into her own space. I believe in South Shore.
Mary, are there boundaries for this rollout, or is it just citywide?
There are boundaries. It's that qualified investment area. Oh, can you go to the next slide, Ernest? I think the website's there. Oh, actually it's not. I'm going to put it in the chat. So it's chicago.gov/NOF. And you can put any address in there and check to see if it's within the boundaries. And if it has to be for NOF small, it has to be on one of our corridors and in the QIA, but you could check that on their website.
Any chance you want to take the wheel and show off the website on your end, Mary?
Sure. Let me do the slide and then we can do that. So we are always looking for community partners to help us out with an info session. We've had folks do that in the past, and it's really helpful to help us we have a really small staff. It's me and Sophia. So if you're willing to host an info session, we really, really appreciate it, and we'll do our best to support you. We're going to be hosting info sessions. So if you're on our email list, you'll get an email letting you know about that. We'll have sessions in English and Spanish. And we also have recorded sessions if you can't make the live sessions. We recorded those about 4 or 5, not too long ago this year. We are hiring. So if you know somebody that you think would be interested, please direct them to our website. The title is Coordinator of Economic Development. It's on the City of Chicago jobs page, and it says Neighborhood Opportunity Fund in there. And you can please email us if you have any questions. So any questions before we look at the map? No? Okay. Let's see. So I can share my screen, right? Okay. I think you have to hand it over to me, Ernest. Okay. Great. So here is our website. So I'll just go to this. This is our contact page, and you can sign up for our mailing list and you'll get notifications. There's also contact information for NOF large. I work on NOF small, which is grants under 250,000 or smaller, and NOF large is 250,000 or greater. So if you want to check an address, go to our apply page. And then Adrienne, can you give me your address for West Humboldt Park?
Which address? Oh, 3620 West Chicago Avenue.
Okay. Just type that in. And this address, it's on our eligible, it's on our priority, and it's also on Invest Southwest. So this one is going to get the most weight in our process with being on the Invest Southwest.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll tell you, if you're eligible for the small or not.
Okay.
So you can see the corridors there. Any questions about that? No?
No.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your attention today. And please let us know if you're willing to work together on some of the info sessions, and look forward to some great proposals from the Humboldt Park area.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. All right. Well, going to bring us back to the main presentation for today. Up next is Divi Bikeshare.
Hi, everybody. Hi, thank you, Ernest, for inviting me to this session, and thanks to everybody for making time on the busy agenda for me. My name is Amanda Woodall. I'm the program director for the Divi Bike Sharing System at the Chicago Department of Transportation. A lot of folks don't know that Divi is a city-owned system. It was launched with city federal funds back in 2013. Since that time, we've established an operations contract with our operator and our sponsor, Lyft, and it's thanks to their $50 million capital investment that we're actually able to expand the system citywide. So that's what I'm here to talk about today, because citywide obviously includes West Humboldt Park, and West Humboldt Park is a really crucial connection into North Austin, which does not currently have Divi, as well as Belmont Cragen and other communities surrounding. So just a heads up to anyone, Alderman Burnett, or to Mary, anybody who's here from an alderman's office, if you see a location go by on this presentation that you have not seen, please know that this has not been formally presented yet. These are some of the locations that we're circulating with constituents, and we want to make sure we're doing a lot of engagement before we bring those forward for a formal presentation. The next slide, please. So this map shows currently all of the blue dots on this map represent Divi stations that were installed prior to 2020. The blue shaded area on the far south side was our first phase of citywide expansion. That has wrapped up. There are a couple of locations that are still straggling because they're placed on state property or forest preserve district property, and we're still working through that. But this year we have really focused on the red shaded areas on the map, which are the northwest and southwest areas. So as I mentioned before, that includes, of course, West Humboldt Park, Austin, Belmont Cragen, Hermosa, as well as North Lawndale, Little Village, and we have begun installing stations in some of these locations. So we're really excited to keep the process moving. On the next slide, please. So in addition to having the system expanding this year, it's also undergoing an upgrade. So the blue pedal bikes that you see at the top of this slide are the traditional bikes that most people are familiar with. They can only dock from the traditional heavyweight stations. They're 3-speed. But last year, Lyft integrated these black hybrid electric e-bikes into the system. So you'll see on the down tube for that black bike on the bottom, they have a battery pack built in. And what that does, thank you, Ernest, that gives you a pedal assist boost. All you have to do is get on the bike and start pedaling, and the battery will kick in to assist you up to 20 miles per hour. We see this as a major advantage for many different people, particularly anybody who maybe hasn't biked in a long time. There are a lot of folks who maybe haven't biked in 10, 20 years. This boost is something that can give you a lot of confidence to make you feel like you can get out there and navigate comfortably, and just get a lot more people access, maybe people facing physical barriers, older adults who maybe, if you're suffering from arthritis, this is a great way to get some exercise with lower impact on your hips and your knees and your ankles. In addition to that, the bike also has this feature, which is a built-in onboard cable lock, which you can see on the rear fender of this. Thank you again, Ernest. If you can click to the next slide, what that cable lock enables is that people can dock the electric bikes in the traditional stations, but it also means that they can be locked up to any bike rack, any signpost, retired parking meter, really any legal bike parking space. So this means that we aren't as dependent on the stations themselves in order to provide service to communities. Next slide, please. The other thing that this means is that we have two different station models now. So the one on the right is the heavyweight traditional docking station that most people are familiar with. It has the big ad panel, it has the kiosk with the solar panels and all of that. On the left is the new lightweight station model that's really proprietary to those e-bikes that have that built-in locking mechanism. So when we're talking about our citywide expansion, all the new locations that are getting Divi are getting these upgraded bikes with the e-bikes and this locking flexibility. And they're also getting this lighter weight station model, which is also great because frankly, the heavyweight station requires like a crane truck and a flatbed truck and all this, major operations in order to install them. But the lightweight stations are really, it's more like, two guys in a van, right? So it's a little bit easier to manage that. And we're able to deploy them much more quickly and fit them, frankly, into more locations because we can break them up into smaller pieces. The next slide, please. So we recognize that in our efforts to do community engagement and get community input on this, that not everyone is on our Facebook algorithm, right? Not everybody is seeing our social media. We know there are a lot of people who just plain don't have access to any devices in their home. So one of the things we're trying to do to get people's attention is we've actually just put out, good old yard signs at locations where that we're considering. The idea is to get people to imagine a station here. They can scan that QR code and go to our survey as well. If you go to the next slide, it'll show kind of what that survey looks like. Can I get the next slide, Ernest? Thank you. So you'll see here the red question mark dots on the survey are locations that our team has identified as potential spots that could work. People are able to click on those, comment, give their feedback on what they think, but they can also drop these other pins. You'll see these other multicolored, the green and pink and blue pins where people can make suggestions of locations that they would like to see. So that's one of the ways that we're engaging people. We're also going out into communities. We're going to all these locations that we're proposing and speaking directly to business owners, and also leaving materials for residents when we're not able to speak with them directly. The next slide, please. Something that we always talk about when we talk about Divi is our Divi for Everyone program. So one of the crucial aspects of this success is making sure that people know how to access the system, that they know it's for them, and that they know all the different ways to use it. So if you're a person, there's many ways to do this, right? A person can get a day pass where you get unlimited number of trips throughout, for a 24-hour period. You can get a single ride pass for $3.30 for 30 minutes. So it's, easy to remember, right? $3.30 for 30 minutes. People can access it with the app. If you become a member, you can also access it with a key fob. And that's something that's really key. So if you decide to become an annual member of Divi, the price is $108 for the whole year. You do get an unlimited number of trips up to 45 minutes. And that's a really, it's a great value when you consider that it just comes down to pennies per day when you look at the cost of transit, or when you look at the cost of a gym membership, or whatever reason people want to use the system. But we also recognize that cost barrier, that cost of $108 can be a major barrier for people. And also we recognize that not everybody in Chicago has a debit card or a credit card to be able to associate with an account. So we created this program called Divi for Everyone. And it's a $5 enrollment fee for the first year. It does step up in subsequent years, but you get all of the same usage privileges as any other member of the system. And there's also a cash payment option for people who don't have bank accounts. So this is something that I personally have spent a lot of time developing the program, and really glad that we're able to provide this as a complement to the system. The next slide, please. And this is just a little bit of a summary of some of the activities that we can do and some of the activities that we have done to reach out to people. The pictures up here at the top are from with our great partner, the Northwest Side Housing Center in Belmont Cragen. Their youth council is highly engaged. And so we were able to go work with them to do a planning bike ride where we went to all the different locations in the community, many of them that were planned out, and talked about why we selected them, what some of the challenges are, got some feedback. You also probably will recognize this mural from Michelle Clark High School. That's a great partnership that Divi loves to be able to do. I think we've done it 3 years now, where we've been able to get the graduates on bikes riding around throughout the community. And it's, it kind of tugs on the heartstrings a little to see them all with their mortar boards biking. So we have also, there are Learn to Ride programs for adults. Shamika Turner, who is also on this call and leads CDOT Safe Ambassadors program, spearheads that. So there are a ton of resources and a ton of things that we're trying to do to reach out to folks. My role is to make sure that as we plan our citywide expansion, we're doing it in a way that serves existing community needs. We recognize that there are some folks who are going to see biking and bike share only as something that they would do for health and fitness or for recreation. There are folks who maybe their kids have bikes, but they themselves don't have bikes. And so Divi is a great way for them to be able to go out and, ride together, participate together. If you're a person who has to take 2 buses in order to get to your job, or maybe you get off, your work late at night and bus service slows down, a Divi bike can mean that you only have to take 1 bus ride, or it can mean, maybe just go the whole way. Working families as well, this is a great way to support what their transportation needs might be. So we want to make sure that we're planning the stations in a way that serve people. Also, an important note here is that Divi is currently hiring. We want to share this widely. They're looking to staff up to 150 people, maybe 200, because that's what it takes in order to run a system like this citywide. They will train mechanics. So this is another piece for anybody who's working on workforce development. We want to make sure that information is available to everybody. divibikes.com/careers. So now that I've gone through that main spiel, I was hoping to be able to share a couple of locations here that I think are, they're close to the Chicago Avenue corridor. So this map shows the whole Austin and West Humboldt Park local network. The darker colored dots on this map are the ones that are stations that have already been installed, that already exist. The sort of lighter navy blue dots are those that we are looking at proposing for this year. You'll see that those dots do extend further north of the community area as well. But I really just wanted to focus in on a few here. I'm happy to talk to anybody about these, and I will be also sending a separate, packet that's tailored to the specific wards as soon as we feel like we're pretty confident about these locations. But I just wanted to highlight a few for this group here. If you wouldn't mind, Ernest, going down to slide 17. This is the location is Central Park in Augusta. If you click through, I'll be able to tell you when to stop. We had initially, keep going. There it is. So actually, we went out and talked to the business owners at this location, and they had told us that they actually did not want it on Augusta. They said that they thought that it would be a great addition to this intersection, but that they would prefer for the station to be placed on street over on Central Park instead of on Augusta, because they do have a lot of drive-by traffic that, that pulls in, stops here, runs into the store to pick up a few items. And also this is a location where they have deliveries that are coming in and out of the store. So sorry, this isn't the most current image, but I did want to show you this. Then this is, obviously just north of the corridor. And the next slide, please, is slightly south of the corridor at Central Park in Ohio, over by the Ujima Community Garden. I have tried reaching out to the phone number that's listed on the signage here. for the Ujima Garden, and we have left information for the residents in the surrounding area. But if anybody happens to have a contact for the person, the folks that are running this garden, we would love to be able to reach out to them, because we know that they're using the space in a robust way, and we want to make sure that we're doing this in concert in a way that's not going to interfere with what they're doing, and also just to get their take on whether they think this would be a successful location or not. And then if you
We
can go
have
down,
that, we have that information.
Adrian, thank you.
Yes, no, not myself, but we do have that information.
You do have it? Okay,
that we-
excellent.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
Ernest, maybe afterwards we can connect and I can get Adrian's email address, and maybe we could, so I can get connected with Ujima Garden that way. That I really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Great, thanks. Victory, yes, I've been looking to get into that contact, so thank you. The next slide, please. So there's a few options for this. This location is at Chicago and Harding. And initially our planners, we looked at this and we thought it's sort of equidistant between Orr High School and the Kelly Hall YMCA, right? It's on a vacant lot, which isn't exactly, the development that we would like to, we would like for this to be closer to an organization or a building or a facility where people are interested in having it. We did go over and speak to the business owner on the other side of the street at the shop there, and he had some concerns about like the lighting over here, not a lot of eyes on the location. So this was, this from a planning perspective, it will fit here, right? We can make it fit. It's not, adjacent to a residence or any other problematic thing like that. But we also recognize that we want it to be in a location where people are going to feel safe and comfortable, and where it's going to be close to a community partner. So what we're doing, if you can move to the next slide, please. We're in conversation with Kelly Hall about potentially putting it there at the YMCA. They also have some concerns and questions there. This is one option, but I believe that this would require us to put it technically on YMCA property, which is another administrative challenge. The next slide shows another potential option, which would be for us to break it into two pieces and put it on either side of these tree pits. But we also want to make sure that there aren't, any other issues there. So we have opened that conversation up, and I would be more than happy to, we'll be talking, obviously Alderman Burnett will be speaking with you about this as well. Those are sort of the three main locations that we're looking at that are closest to the Chicago Avenue corridor.
Amanda, since I guess I can speak on that real briefly. I do live around that area, and the Harding location, in my opinion, would not be a good location. This would be an excellent location if the YMCA agrees. It's right off the corridor. And next to that is the Storm Water Garden, which is, I believe, is a joint ownership.
Okay.
With the city and the Y.
Is that just to the south of this?
Just to the south of this. So this is an old picture, but if you go, which would be to my left, I guess our left, right off Chicago, it's built up now.
Okay.
But they do utilize that, the YMCA, but this would be a better location than Hart.
Thanks for your feedback on that. I think that's what we were coming to discover. It's just a question of getting, we obviously also want this to be a location that's going to serve YMCA, and that they feel like that's a good partnership. So I realize I've taken up a ton of time. Thank you all so much. Yes.
This is Maurice, Fears of Children's Place. I previously worked with the Y. That location, from my time there, directly in front of the doors was not favorable.
Okay.
If it were to be adjusted further south, that would probably be more favorable. And the reason being there, pick up, drop off, and just the crowd it may attract right in front of the entrance was always a concern.
Okay.
For the Y staff. And again, that's my previous experience within the last 12 months. The new director may have a different stance. Okay. So I would definitely reach out to her prior to.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
owns that? Who owns the stormwater garden? Is that the Y or is it owned by the city? That's that gray, this gray.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
brought it up on the screen here. I
That's,
believe
Which is,
that's
it's
owned by,
fenced in now.
yeah, is that across the alley, right? Yep. That's owned by
Yes.
Our Lady of Angels Church.
Okay, so okay,
They
well,
purchased
that's,
that. Yep.
which is right south from there.
Okay,
From
Our Lady of
Hamlet.
Angels. Okay,
Mhm.
that's great contact. I think it's clear that the space has been developed and that even this aerial doesn't show everything that's going on there, like all the resources and investment that have been brought in, but I wasn't totally sure how the space is being used. My conversations with Ms. Pye over at the YMCA, it's such a long conversation to start with, with everything we're doing with Divi and what we're trying to achieve. So,
Yeah. It's mainly used for parking, additional parking, and then, some special events.
okay.
So it's not a heavy use.
Okay.
But Juanita definitely the conversation with her, which you already had, to
Yep.
be expanded, but that's
Getting
kind of
it
what's
started.
been going on. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, so those were the 3 locations that are closest to the corridor. If anybody's interested in seeing more, I'd be more than happy to share those with you. I can set up a separate working session, or, of course, we'll be working directly with the ward offices to make sure that all of these are going to work from that perspective as well. Here's all my contact information, as well as different ways that people can get connected with the system. We're happy to be able to provide bikes to support community events. So that's another resource that's available.
So Amanda, can I ask, are there any Divi bikes by Kells Park or the library?
Yes. Ernest, if you're able to
And
maybe
then,
just
and then down the street, we're supposed to have a skate park that's supposed to be built out by this water thing that you all put up. Where's that, Adrian? That's on
That's on near Christiana and Chicago Avenue.
Chicago Avenue.
The part of the
Okay.
stormwater garden. Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you for that information, knowing
Yeah,
that's coming.
Yeah, that's a great location.
Okay, great. Maybe Adrian, I can reach back out to you, and it seems like you've got a lot of intel on these things. And if you don't mind taking some time, I'd love to find out more about the timing there. That would be excellent. One more thing, I do apologize, I forgot to mention. Right now, this map also shows a location at Kildare in Chicago. This was formerly at Costner in Chicago. The idea being that when the JPSTC comes in, that we will be able to place a Divi station there on the plaza as a part of that program. But of course, that's a couple years out, right? So in the meantime, we had identified a good space, or what seems to be a good space, at Kildare in Chicago, near the city market farm that's over there. So that's another one that we were considering as a temporary location until the plaza is built out.
Yeah, what about over by the school right there on St. Louis, between St. Louis and Monticello?
St. Louis. No, that's not Roe Clark. Monticello is Roe Clark.
Mondale, I mean. Yeah.
Roe Clark.
Right, Roe Clark. Do we have any Divi bikes there?
No, there's none there. That's 3600 west. So that's, yeah.
So they have a large gymnasium in back of that building.
Let me pull it up. This is all very, very helpful.
I pulled it up on the screen, an aerial of it.
Okay. Roe Clark at Chicago and Lawndale. Okay.
Well, it's on both sides at Monticello, so whole building.
There is a gymnasium, Alderman.
There's a large gymnasium in the back.
Right.
Mondale, right.
Okay. Right. So
Yeah.
this is a great suggestion. some of it will have to do on, with like our ability to find a geometric space where we can fit it. But this does seem like there could be some opportunity. We have not analyzed this particular location. I'm trying to pull up my own internal map just to get an idea of the regions that we are working to serve this year. Were there any other suggestions that you had, Alderman?
No, just that there's a senior building down the street. I don't know if those seniors ride the bikes or not. And then, further west, further south, you have on St. Louis and right off of Franklin.
Oh, yeah.
There's a breakthrough ministry
Right.
homeless shelter. It's an intake. People sleep there at night.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it's not just the homeless. They have a gym. They have a lot of programs for women. So that's a great location too. You're right.
Yeah, you're talking about on off of Kedzie on Carroll Street.
Right, on Carroll Street. But yeah.
Talking about on our side of Kinsey or Governor's Parkway.
Okay.
There's right by the train track. If you come down. No, come down. Yeah, right here, that building. You see it, Breakthrough Ministry right there?
Mm-hmm.
It's a men's shelter.
Carroll in St. Louis. Okay, I'm making a note of that.
Actually, that's St. Louis and Governor's Parkway.
Governor's Parkway.
Yeah, now across under the tracks on Carroll Street, Breakthrough there's a playground. They got a lot of stuff over there, but
okay.
That's in the 28th ward though right now.
Okay.
But Breakthrough right now is in the 27th.
Okay. I'll have to take a look. It does look like that is just kind of barely within our expansion area for this year. So,
okay.
Right.
I was just thinking because right behind there's a CHA. There's a CHA senior building.
Okay.
And unfortunately, one of the challenges with this senior building is there is no bus transportation nearby for them.
Oh, okay.
I guess, I don't know, is there a bus on Central Park? I don't even think there is. So they don't have any bus transportation over here.
Okay.
Yeah, the nearest bus would be Holman.
Yeah, so if they had some Divi bikes over there, the healthy seniors probably could,
yeah,
ride the bikes.
Thanks for highlighting that connection. I think if we were going to go over there, we would need to take one of the stations, one of the dots we've already got on the map and move it over there. And the closest one is the one that's near that Ujima Garden. But it does sound like you've highlighted a need here that wasn't on our radar. So that's really helpful feedback. And like you said, if it's in the 28th ward, we obviously we'll work with Alderman Irvin on that.
No, that one's in the 27th ward.
It is, okay.
Both of those in the 27th ward.
Okay, I see now. Okay, great.
Out of the tracks, so.
All right. Well,
Amanda, real quick, should we use this opportunity to dispel the myth about the flashing lights in the front, if anyone's heard that? So
sure. If we have a minute, I realize we're coming right up on time, and I didn't know if there was another presentation, but just one of these things. There's kind of this rumor that I've heard going on that people think that when you see a Divi bike coming that has a flashing light on the front, that people think that means that it is stolen. And that is not true. So if anybody mentions this to you, that is not the case. That is part of the design. The flashing light on the front of the bike is there. It automatically comes on anytime you start pedaling for safety, to just make you more visible to drivers. So this is one of these things, a few different people we've talked to have mentioned this, and thank you, Shamika, for highlighting that. So,
fake news.
Fake news indeed. Fake news indeed. So I am making also copying and pasting some of these notes that are coming up in the chat, because I'm seeing that there are a couple direct messages to me for reaching out about different things. So I want to, keep track of those. And I will also put my email here in the chat as well, in case anybody is interested in following up directly. Thank you, Alderman Burnett, for your input on this. Mary Phillips, we will also be reaching out to you to set up some time with Alderman Mitz. And it's just so helpful to have this kind of feedback. So thank you so much, everybody, for your comments and ideas.
Amanda, thank you for your time, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And as I assumed it was invaluable, as I saw you on other West Region roundtables, I knew having you here with the group for Humboldt Park, Chicago Avenue would be invaluable. So thank you so much for joining us. So lastly, just wanted to go over 2 updates. As most of you know, I received in my email box earlier this month info about the 2nd annual Humboldt Park Fest happening August 7th. So I don't know if Adrian or Nefertari, if you want to, either of you want to speak quickly to this.
Well, I don't want to talk on it too much, but for the sake of time, but yes, it's August the 7th in conjunction, in partnership with CAPS. They did the resource fair last year where they closed off about 4 blocks of Chicago Avenue, which was very successful. Since we didn't have a fest in 2020, we're just going to combine them and have this. And on the 7th, we're looking for the vaccination van to come out along with the assessor's office, which we find that to be very important since tax time is coming. So we have a number of resource tables coming out. We have some stages and 2 different areas where there's music, entertainment, dancing, arts and crafts. So we're just trying to, enjoy the rest of the summer safely as possible. So that's happening on the 7th. And there is no cost for resources. So the only other thing that's happening on the day, we're hoping to reveal our new banners. We already have the Obama portraits that are up. So we're hoping to reveal the banners of Roe Clark and Polaris schools, grammar schools, and a high school. Their artwork will be on our banners. We'll be taking down the WHP banners, and we'll be installing artwork from some of the students in those schools along the corridor, which is going to be very exciting. It should be running in the Austin Voice newspaper on the next edition. So, yeah, that's about it.
Great. Thanks, Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
So lastly, I just wanted to give a quick update on the Quarter Rfp. The RFP responses are due on August 31st. I still getting some emails on my end with regards to developers curious about the project and curious about how they partner with NHS and NHS's specifics. I've yet to get any further updates as far as how many downloads there have been. So apologies on not being able to update it at this meeting. Some folks have been out of town or at meetings with regards to who I normally coordinate with to get this info. So all I have is the last numbers we have. So definitely 60 unique downloads have happened with regards to this. I think we're going to have a good turnout for what happens towards the end of next month. And so other than that, again, just wanted to share that previous roundtables and visioning sessions are available on the DPD YouTube page. I will be looking to post this, have this hopefully posted by the end of the week up there. But if there's any information on previous roundtables that you wanted to obtain, just go into the YouTube channel. You'll be able to view it there or refer to the emails that I send out post roundtables on info. And then as well on the Invest Southwest website, we also post the previous roundtables. So going to chicago.gov/Invest Southwest and navigating to the Humboldt Park Chicago Avenue Neighborhood Roundtable page, you'll find all the previous video logs as well as a copy of the presentation there. So next month's dates, I've yet to really update this slide, but I will quickly search my email for the proper date. I believe our next roundtable is on August the 25th, August 25th at 12 noon. That will be the next roundtable, and I'll get it here on the screen for everyone in 2 seconds so we all see it.
You can actually update this in real time?
Yep. The magic of PowerPoint. I can update it in real time as I have the presentation open on my second monitor. So there we go. So we've had the NOF announcements already. You've also heard from Mary Kuhn that the new round of NOF is happening soon in August. And next roundtable is August 25th at 12 noon. So thanks everyone for turning out today. And look forward to seeing you all virtually next month as we get towards the tail end of the Invest Southwest RFP.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.